The Missing Link by H.P. Blavatsky, read by Dave Marsland of Cardiff Theosophical Society. This article was published in the Theosophist of February 1881. The Missing Link. A good many of the Western papers are terribly excited over a bit of news just arrived in Europe from Sangoon. The most radical and free-thinking of them crow over the fact, as well they may in the interest of truth, as though the thickest and hitherto most impenetrable of the veils covering Mother Nature's doings had been removed forever, and anthropology had no more secrets to learn. The excitement is due to a little monster, a 7-year-old boy now on exhibition in Sangoon. The child is a native of Cambodia, quite robust and healthy, yet exhibiting in his anatomy the most precious and rare of physical endowments. A real tail, 10 inches long and 1.5 inches thick at its root. This original little sample of humanity, unique we believe of his kind, is now made out by the disciples of Darwin and Haeckel to be the bona or boni fide missing link. Let us suppose, for argument's sake, that the evolutionists, whose colours we certainly wear, are right in their hypothesis, and that the cherished theory of having baboons for our ancestors turns out true. Will every difficulty in our way be then removed? By no means, for then more than ever will we have to try to solve the hitherto insolvable problem: which comes first, the man or the ape? It will be the Aristotelian egg and chicken problem of creation over again. We can never know the truth until some streak of good chance shall enable science to witness at different periods and under various climates either women giving birth to apes, graced with a caudal appendix, or female orangutans becoming mothers of tailless and moreover semi-human children, endowed with a capacity for speech at least as great as that of a moderately clever parrot or myna. Science is but a broken reed for us in this respect, for science is just as perplexed, if not more so, than the rest of us common mortals. So little is it able to enlighten us upon the mystery, that the men of most learning are those who confuse us the most in some respects. As in regard to the heliocentric system, which, after it had been left undisputed fact for more than 3 centuries, found in the later part of our own a most serious opponent in Dr. Schröpfer, Professor of Astronomy at the University of Berlin. So the Darwinian theory of the evolution of man from anthropoid has among its learned opponents one who, though an evolutionist himself, is eager to oppose Darwin and seeks to establish a school of his own. This new perfectionist is a professor in the Hungarian town of Fumkirchen, who is delivering just now a series of lectures throughout Germany. Man, says he, whose origin must be placed in the Silurian mud, whence he began evoluting from a frog, must necessarily some day re-evolute into the same animal. So far, well and good. But the explanations going to prove this hypothesis, which Professor Charles Deasy accepts as a perfectly established fact, are rather too vague to enable us to build anything like an impregnable theory upon them. In the primitive days of the first period of evolution, he tells us, there lived a huge frog-like mammalian animal inhabiting the seas, but which, being of an amphibious kind, lived likewise on land, breathing in the air as easily as it did in water. Its chief habitat, though, was in the salt sea water. This frog-like creature is now what we call man, and his marine origin is proved by the fact that he cannot live without salt. There are other signs about man, almost as impressive as the above, by which this origin can be established, if we may believe this new prophet of science. For instance, a well-defined remnant of fins to be seen between his thumbs and fingers, as also his insurmountable tendency towards the element of water, a tendency, we remark passim, more noticeable in the Hindu than the Highlander. No less does the Hungarian scientist set himself against Darwin's theory of man descending from the ape. According to his new teaching, it is not the anthropoid which begot man, but the latter which is the progenitor of the monkey. The ape is merely a man returned once more to its primitive, savage state. Our professor's view as to geology and the ultimate destruction of our globe, coupled with his notions regarding the future state of mankind, are no less original and are the very sweetest fruit of his tree of scientific knowledge. Provoking though they do general hilarity, they are nevertheless given out by the learned lecturer in quite a serious spirit, and his works are considered among the textbooks for colleges. If we have to credit his statement, then we must believe that the moon is slowly but surely approaching the earth. The result of such an indiscretion on the part of our fair Diana is to be most certainly the following. The sea waves will someday immerse our globe and gradually submerge all the continents. Then man, unable to live any longer on dry land, will have to return to his primitive form, i.e., he will re-become an aquatic animal, a man-frog, and life assurance companies will have to shut up their shop and become bankrupt, he might have added. Daring speculators are advised to take their precautions in advance.